I got a request to do a video on our plans. So I actually have a bunch of paperwork to show you here. All sorts of plans. You kind of see I laid them all out on the grass. So here we have the standard set of construction documents. This was our original version. It had a garage / basement underneath the dome. When we went to the next step beyond these designs, which was the engineering, which I'll get to in a minute, we discovered after talking to the engineers that we were not going to be able to afford to put the basement garage underneath the dome, unfortunately. So we had to go back and redesign it to this version, which is the current version that we built the house with so far and are still building the house with. And as you can see, there are 19 pages here going into more and more detail. We designed the house so that it's a pretty open floor plan. The nice thing about the monolithic domes is that there is nothing structural interior. So, you know, we picked a layout that we liked that would keep us all on one floor, and that would give us the square footage that we wanted. And then we altered it with the help of their designer to reflect what we wanted in the house. So this dome and the one behind it, because it's 4 32-foot domes, are these center ones here are the main living areas. This is the great room, the kitchen's behind it. This one and the kitchen are both 18 feet tall. These wing domes are for the bedrooms. This side is the master. This side is what we're calling the kids wing, which has the additional bedrooms in it. So there's 3 bedrooms in this house. These side ones are also 32 feet diameter domes, but they are a little bit shorter, so they're 16 feet tall. And so if you just, go through the plans, I'll just run through them quick. Here is our floor layout. Looks a little bit like Mickey Mouse. In fact, that's what our town building department calls it, the Mickey Mouse house. As you can see here, this is the great room and the kitchen. It's all open. These walls here are only 8 feet tall, so it is open to the ceiling. We have already built this curved wall. This side is the master wing of the house. And this side is what we're calling the kids wing, at least until they grow up and move out. We did design it with the idea that when they do grow up and move out, we can maybe Airbnb it, or if we get to the point where one of our parents needs to move in with us, they can. It can be turned into an apartment that gets shut off here in the hall here, and so that then this whole area would be a small apartment. It's actually pretty big because it's 2 bedrooms. It's called multi-purpose here, but it is a bedroom. And then we're not going to put the kitchen in to begin with, where it's going to be kind of a craft room / media room for the kids. But all the plumbing and electrical and everything will be there to add a kitchen in the future if we desire. So our house plan is, it says 2,735 square feet. We do have plans in the future, hopefully not too long into the future, to build another dome here, which is like a greenhouse solarium kind of dome. It is not going to be monolithic. It will be connected to the front door entry here, so that the front door entry will move to here, and you'd have to walk through the greenhouse to get to the main entry of the house. Again, hopefully we get to that. That's the plan. It's going to be just a regular stem wall, and then we're looking into getting a geodesic glass dome cap for it. There are some companies that make them. All right, so that's our flora layout. You can see we have some crazy curved walls. We got the go-ahead from our town to not finish this half of this wing of the house. We plan to finish this only and then move in, and even then it's be roughly finished. And we will save this whole area to be after we move in. All right, so I'll just flip through these pages. You know, there's window and door schedules on this one. When we designed the plans, we had to pick out all the exact, you know, windows and doors that we wanted. We have since, you know, changed them a bit. They're different. So it wasn't set in stone, but part of that is because we're doing our windows and doors in the augments, which are wood. So we were able to change them. If you did them directly into the cement, you probably would not be able to change those dimensions. All right, so just some elevations, the next couple. Yeah, so our doors and windows are different now. Actually, we even changed the orientation of these glass block skylights that are going to be here. Like, they're set up totally differently. And they're actually in different locations, and we added more of them when they were building the dome shell based on how we thought the sun was going over the house once it was actually up. So just more designs. This is dome profile and kitchen details. Yeah, this is all about the augments, so the size of our augments. They, you know, in real life are probably a little bit different. Our back door ended up being a little bit smaller than we had designed it, just because the airform wasn't totally inflated. So in this, there was more, I don't know. It ended up, I think, not being quite as tall as it was supposed to be. So, but we didn't order our doors until after the shell was done because of that. All right, so here is a foundation detail. We did our foundation ourselves. So, you know, these are obviously a huge help for laying things out. They give you from the centers of each of these 4 domes. So this is the center of this kitchen dome. This is the center of the master, center of the kids, center of the great room. They give you all the measurements so that you can find, you know, where the perimeter of this house would be. It's not just one circle, so it is a little more complicated. We had no problem doing it ourselves. When South Industries, who built our house, came out, we were only off in this area here by maybe a ½ an inch. It was a ½ an inch too far that way. Otherwise, we were pretty much spot on, and less than ½ an inch off on the whole rest of the house. All right, just more things to help you find how to lay the foundation out. Here, as you can see, we've been drawing on these, trying to figure things out for our runs for our conduit. But this is our electrical legend. So this is all customized. We picked everything just like we picked the whole interior. We did start using Monolithic's, you know, sort of basic plans that they put in their dome living book. This layout of the 4 32-foot domes was called the Europa. We took that shape because it gave us the square footage we wanted, and then we just put the walls and everything in it how we wanted it to be, including changing what the openings and stuff would be. All right, so that's how we do that. This is one that sheet that helps with electrical locations on the ceiling. So being able to measure and pinpoint where, like, these recessed lighting things would be, and the fans and stuff. Here's a plumbing layout. We moved this part of the Y for the outlet to the septic to the front of the house because we are going to be building this later, and we didn't want to dig in the future where there was going to be plumbing, so we moved it. But other than that, it stayed the same. This is, you know, just a general plan. There's definitely room for you to move things around as you see that you need them. Let's see. And then here we have like different vents, where to find the plumbing outlets, you know, for the washer, floor drain, toilets, things like that. And here we have these little points here. It's measurements from these 2 center pins to find these locations, and these locations drop a pin. That's how we find the curves for our curved walls. And these ones, again, you know, it gives us the curves here, the lengths of the walls. Here's these curves actually. Here you drop a pin and you can find the radius, our curved shower, curved toilet area, curved closet area. And then just some cross sections. Yeah, and that's the end of what is in the plans that we got through Monolithic's designer. They're the standard construction documents. We submitted ours to the town along with the next step, which was the engineering documents. We had a little bit of a rough time with the engineering. Unfortunately, Monolithic's engineer was not licensed in our state, the one that they typically use. And it was not a simple procedure for him to get licensed in our state to do it. I have heard that there are some states that allow outside structural engineers to get licensed for like $40 or whatever. They just fill something out online. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it's a simple process, and that can definitely save you a lot of money. I didn't actually know that there was an engineering step in all of this, so it was a little bit of a surprise cost, and then it ended up being many, many thousands more than it was supposed to, because we had to hire both the guy that's experienced with monolithic domes and their engineering, and our local company here that was going to become the engineer of record on the plans, because our town was requiring us to have stamped engineering, treating our house a bit like a commercial building. And the reason that they had to do that is that the building inspectors in our town don't know anything about the way these houses are built, and can't really inspect them because they're not educated in it. And therefore they need an engineering company to become the one who's responsible for, you know, checking up to make sure that it's built the way it should be. All right, so these are the engineering documents. Most of this is actually more about the foundation than the dome itself. We did do it ourselves. When we first got these, we were a bit overfaced by it. And we did try to get a local company to do our foundation for us, but unfortunately, we were not able to find somebody. They took one look at our plans and no one ever called us back. It was about 20 different people that I tried. We had initially, our engineering company gave us the option of doing a 10-inch thick stem wall or an 8-inch thick. The 10-inch thick one is, straight piece segments. The 8-inch thick one would be curved. We ended up finding the spider ties, and if you haven't seen my videos on those, you can go check them out. I put some video clips up of us putting together the spider tie foundation. It was a lifesaver for us. It made it so much easier. And it certainly saved us a ton of money by doing it ourselves, although I gotta say it was a lot of work. Yeah, so this one's about just the foundation plan and the footings. This one is the floor slab and the tension ring, showing that we have thickened edges on our slabs. The tension rings are these tension beams in the center that they required us to do. Let's see here. There's elevations. Ours actually didn't end up needing all these steps down that they thought it would, so it was more simple than this plan makes it look. And what's kind of cool, foundation details, shows the rebar that comes down from the shell of the dome through the ring beam into the stem wall, and then continues on down continuously into the footer. Let's see here, just more details, because it's all different depending on a door augment or a window augment. And then we have, this is in front of the big window, although we ended up changing it. We didn't end up having to do this grade beam thing. Let's see, left and right dome sections. Here's a little bit about the actual dome, showing the saddle areas, how the augments get done, that sort of thing. Another typical augment opening. Again, typical openings, small openings in the shells, what they make you do with the rebar. This was our big front cutout and how they had it designed for the rebar for the big front out and how much concrete they require for different areas. Like this is specific to our house that we needed 6 inches of concrete here in this edge. Yeah, so that's our engineering document. All right. So next things I have is, this is actually your first step. Your first step is to do a site plan or a plot plan. Depends on where you are in terms of what you call it, I guess. You know, this gets done, it puts your proposed house on it. You can figure out, exactly the orientation that you need with setbacks, where your well will go, how the land will need to be graded for draining, where the drainage goes, driveway, if you have a septic, where your tank goes, and then, where the trenches are, the details about the trenches. Over here, it's like, how you do it, like what's the depth, etc., etc., etc. As far including, like what the driveway should be. Lots and lots of details. Let's see here. And then, so the last thing I have for you was a little bit of a surprise step, but it didn't cost us anything. These are called shop drawings. These were actually created by the rebar supplier. It was a time delay because the shop drawings went back and forth with the engineer for a good 4 months about these things, 3 months, I don't know what it was. We thought it was going to be quick, but it ended up dragging things out on us. It seems that anytime we got the engineers involved in anything, it would always be a long time. Like our engineering documents that we went from the actual like standard construction documents to the engineering, for the engineers to finish their step. Now, granted, we did have to change our plans and get rid of the basement, but it still took them almost a year to turn around those the engineering documents. A lot of that was because our local firm had to actually learn the structural engineering from the other company, but it was a huge time sink and money sink. These are kind of cool because, I don't know if you can see me, it's kind of the shadow in the sun here. We got all of our rebar delivered by a company that created these, and it's basically a giant puzzle. So it shows you where all these rebar go. It's a map. This is for our footer, and all of the rebar that was delivered was tagged with specific numbers on them. So like this MK A510, it tells you there's one of them. It's a number 5 rebar. And so I highlighted them. So there's one over here, there's one there, there's one there. I color coded and highlighted them so if they were the same. That way I could find the bundle that was marked with that number and then go drop it somewhere on the forms where it was going to go. They did cut and bend a lot of our stuff for us, and in some ways it was helpful and in other ways it wasn't. A bit because I think on paper it looks like one thing and then in real life it's different, so you do have to make adjustments. And they did not bend our really long ones, so we did have to make a rebar bender, which I also made another video about, not only how to use the rebar bender but also how to make one. So you can check that out on the YouTube channel. So that was the footer, and it gives you details over here, like how everything is laid out. It actually, we were really intimidated at first, but with these plans, instead of just the engineering, it made all the difference for us. It was much easier. It's just like putting together a big puzzle. All right, and so here is the same thing, but for the stem wall. So everything is all labeled, tells you where it all goes. It's hard to see with my shadow here, but they gave us all the details. Everything came all, let's see if I can block this on there. Everything came telling us where it goes, what type of rebar it is, and then, up here they would tell you how many they sent you of each thing. So it was really helpful. This was a huge help to have these shop drawings done. And they didn't cost us anything. They came as part of the cost of being the rebar supplier. All right, so I think that's about it as far as plans go. I'm kind of glad there's not more paper involved. You know, we're still using our standard construction documents for our electrical and for our wall layouts and that kind of thing. Most of these other ones are done and over with, including the engineering. The engineering's totally done and over with. So we're really just left with only the standard construction documents helping us out. And I think that's about it. I'll make another update soon that, you know, has house stuff in the real life as far as building goes, but just wanted to get out this kind of long, drawn out thing, but there is a lot to the plans. If you guys have any specific questions, go ahead and try to hit me up. I'll do the best I can to answer. I certainly don't know everything about all these houses. It's just what we've experienced so far. But I know that there is not a lot out there. You know, when we were planning and doing it all, it was just like, you know, every step we made was a surprise. So I'll help the best I can.